Hello folks. So I recently did a review of this Ordro AC5 camcorder, and ever since the first moment I took it out of the package, it just really surprises me of how heavy it is. It's actually heavier than any other camcorder I have except for my, much larger, semi-professional style camcorders. And actually my first thought when I took it out of the package was, what the heck, did they bolt a big chunk of metal in this thing to make it feel heavier than it is? And I thought, you know what the heck, I'm going to tear it apart if I can, and just see what the inside of one of these cameras looks like. So there's lots of exposed screws, and in fact this little side panel just pops right off and exposes some more. So I'm going to take it apart if I can and see just what's inside this camera. Alright, I think I got all of the screws out of this side panel, so let's go ahead and pull this side panel off of here and see what it looks like inside. Get that out of the way. I can't see a whole lot yet, but oh, no, I can see something. That, my friends, appears to be a block of cast iron. So, yeah, I can see a board here and some electronics, and then this here is the battery compartment, and that is a block of cast iron. So, they, definitely some trickery going on to make this camera see, heavier and more substantial in quality than it is. I'm going to go ahead and continue taking it apart, but the cat's out of the bag right off the bat. Definitely some trickery going on. I'm calling shenanigans on this camera. Like I said, it was the first thing I thought of when I first took this thing out of the package was, did they put something in here to make it heavier? But, in a way, I really didn't think they had. I mean, that's just some crazy stuff there. So I think we've already probably exposed the main thing I was kind of looking for here, was to see if the weight of this camera was legitimate or somehow faked. But it's not too hard to take out some more screws and see if we can get into it a little bit further and see what there is to see. All right, with that side panel off, you can see kind of a big board here. It's got the buttons built into it, but can't see much further in there without taking off that board. So what the heck, let's keep going. I actually now kind of want to see if I can get that block of metal out of there and see just how much that thing weighs, so I can see how much of the weight of this camera is just purely due to the fakery of that block of pot metal in there. Alright, so one interesting thing I just found. This is actually the microphone, which was embedded behind this little hole here. So it has holes on the front of the display here, and I kind of assumed these were the holes for the microphone. Now I knew these were the holes for the speaker, but I figured the microphone was also tucked back there. But no, in fact, this was the microphone for the camera. Alright, we are into the camera completely now, and despite all of the attempts to make it look the contrary, this is the entirety of the lens. So quite a small little lens here, actually. And this appears to be the cover over the block of pot metal that is in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out of there. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Secured with a little bit of foam is a large block of cast iron in the back of the camera. So if you get one of these cameras and you think that it feels like it's got some substance to it, it's really got some meaty bulk to it, yeah, it sure does. It has what feels to be probably 2 or 3 ounces of cast iron in the back of it. It might be more than that. You know what? Let me see if I can find my scale and weigh that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and weigh this block of metal that was in this camera and just see how much it weighs. Okay, we got that set to ounces. Okay, I was pretty far off. That is 5 1/3 ounces. So there you have it. Nearly 5 1/2 ounces of the weight of this camera is literally just a big block of metal they put in there to make it feel more substantial than it is. And, you know, I chuckle about it. It's kind of, oops, I dropped a screw. You know, it's just so silly. You know, I laugh about it while I'm taking this apart, but in all reality, this is not really all that funny. I mean, here you have a camera that is being billed as this premium 4K, you know, super high quality experience, and it's got just a blatant lie inside of it. I mean, you can't call this anything but that. This is a lie or a scam. They're artificially trying to make this camera feel like something it isn't. So that's a pretty shady, kind of scummy practice. And, you know, it just goes to show that even with the good versions of this camera, you know, they're doing all they can to make it seem like it's something it isn't. So anyway, I don't know if there's really a lot of point to go over the rest of the camera's internals in detail. I think the overall takeaway is that there's no way around it. These cameras are scams. One way or another, they're a scam. We saw in the review this thing is not 4K, even though it proudly advertises itself as 4K. And when you look inside the camera, I mean, if a 5.5 ounce block of metal in the back of the camera to give it weight to make it feel like something it isn't doesn't scream scam that shouldn't get your money, then I don't know what does. So hopefully you found that interesting or enlightening. If you have any questions, or, you know, there is something else you want me to specifically look for on this camera, you know, just let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. Take care.